We are pleading with you.
There's no money that I'm going to be paying back.
Thank you.
You must stop speaking.
I'm not sure about that.
This is going to be the most peaceful meeting.
That's why we talk about energy mix. Honorable member. Zuma.
Somewhere, somebody is misleading all of us.
We can't do anything else.
There's no money that I'm going to be paying back. I don't think that's my job. It's a little bit difficult.
We must be treated as equals.
I couldn't hear myself.
He's making it more complicated.
Here.
Let us not be tempted to deal with the merits of the case.
There's never been a complaint because it has never happened.
And I will not tolerate that by any person.
Honorable.
My surname is very nice and simple. Zuma. Very simple.
Target your machines to pay back the money.
There's no money that I'm going to be paying back.
Actually, now you'll luister.
Zuma.
You are dealing with an
My surname is very
incompetent
nice and
fellow
simple.
here.
What exactly is your
Very
plan
simple.
around? Because in terms of your pronouncements in the State of the Nation, it's not very clear.
What we have been reporting to you is not true.
I've withdrawn my fingers.
Conflict. The conflict between the MK party and the EFF, it hides a big secret. If you want to understand more about it, watch this.
Not like an 83-year-old who's leading some offshore party of the ANC, who had his chance for 19 years and failed to lead these people of South Africa into liberation, who failed dismally. He's now promising to bring back black unity in this South Africa and in KZN. That old man failed. We must close that chapter of that old man. Our people happen to be confused by that old man who is a tribalist. And we as EFF are going to remain steadfast because we have an appointment with the future. Young as we are, age is on our side. It's nature. There's nothing that we can do. It's nature. Even those ngalahlekelwa by umntwana over 95, but we are still there, led by a 42-year-old upright man called Julius Malema. There's no African leader that can match the wisdom of that leader called Julius Malema. And we are happy and confident that that man is going to lead us into economic freedom in our lifetime. Not some man who failed to deliver free education for all in South Africa. When he had his chance to do so, he failed. Instead, wadlala ngama feelings of the destitute and the downtrodden. When he was vacating office, it's then when he announced free education. It means he had no interest at heart of a black child. He failed to return the land. Wahluleka ukubuyisa umhlaba. When Comrade Kiliza were participating in Parliament, when Comrade Kiliza was still leading in the student command to say, Comrade Zuma, we are giving you our 6% as the EFF. Take the land. We want the land. Ngoba umhlaba singenawo asilutho ezindle emnyama. What did he do? What did he do? He confirmed that the status quo should remain, serving the interest of the whites.
It's foolishness to take a platform and want to characterize the physical appearances or body parts of other people, and then you think that that is being revolutionary. It doesn't appear anywhere in revolutionary history. It doesn't appear. There is no one. There is no Thomas Sankara. There is no Patrice Lumumba. There is no Kwame Nkrumah. There is no Fidel Castro. There is no Che Guevara. There is no one revolutionary who has ever claimed revolutionary credentials by characterizing how people physically appear. It's not politics.
You say no, we must not call
body parts is you can't tell us what to say. No one can tell us what to say. Is it constitutional? Does it violate the constitution, or is it a political speak or a political speech? If it falls within political speech, what's your problem? Go on with your coldness. We are warm.
The conflict between MK's party and the EFF, it hides a very big secret. His face looks familiar for some, but some of you don't know who's this man. And this is one of the top representative of the EFF who's representing the province of KwaZulu-Natal, which is the motherland of the MK political party. Here, he was addressing some people and have to pass this message. Through this message, you definitely understand that the relationship between MK party and the EFF is not looking that good as we thought at first. But how did things get to this point? How did this conflict have to escalate to this level? Why the relationship between Mukonto Wezizwe and the economic freedom fight never seemed to be that good as we first thought from the beginning of everything? Because the war, it is now open. We look a couple of months ago, before President Jacob Zuma have to announce his new political party while he was still in the ANC, the kind of relationship which the man called Jacob Zuma and the president of the EFF, Julius Malema, used to have, this kind of friendship that the two men had built, it does not seem to be the same relationship that we saw. Remember, when Jacob Zuma was about to be arrested or to be in a house arrest, of course, we saw Julius Malema went all the way to his home to talk to him. And we all saw the pictures on how the two men, they were even sharing a cup of tea together, isn't it?
A meeting between the leader of the EFF, Julius Malema, and former President Jacob Zuma, and some nice hot tea. That's what happened in Nkandla, and that's all we know, actually. Zuma hosted Malema at Nkandla. They met for about 4 hours. Apparently, they were discussing what Malema described as being in the best interest of the country in a tweet earlier this week.
Julius Malema on his side, when Jacob Zuma came out and tell him about the new political party that he was supposed to be opening, Julius Malema, who had to come out and explain to people on how this approach took place between him and Jacob Zuma and what was the motivation behind it all.
There was a meeting of the opposition parties which was called by Zuma. And I said, I'm not going. So I asked Floyd and Marshall to attend the SG. They went and Dali was there. Dali went to make a presentation of a paper in that first meeting where he said the EFF must close down with the other parties and then form something under Zuma's leadership. I mean, things happen the way they happen. I mean, Floyd and Marshall, you know him, he's just there and he speaks when it is necessary. But Floyd is the one who was leading the discussion. Who said, no ways, it's not going to happen, and all of that. And then he comes back extremely shocked that Dali is not only proposing it, he has written it down. He has had time to think about it and wrote it down. So I said, no. So then we agreed that we must meet, all parties must go consult their leadership, blah, blah. What is our position? I said, but that's madness. We can't do that. We closed the EFF to Zuma to not one day. It was not even formed at that time. To what? Like, to do what? I don't understand that. Then perhaps Dali realizes they are not doing a good job. He comes himself to me when they were all there as the officials on the 5th floor. He says, no, he wants to see me. I said, no, sharp, come. But I knew what he was going to tell me, so I brought Floyd and I brought Marshall into the meeting. And then he said that, he says, so I told him, no, it's not going to happen. I don't agree with that. And there's no EFF that is going to close shop. In his skillful way, he said, okay, plus we are late now in the elections. Maybe after the elections, we can engage about it again. I said, no problem. And then, again, Floyd and Marshall went back to the meeting to give their party structures a position. They came back and said to me, the president of ATM, Zungula, said, of all of us here, parties, the only party with a national footprint, which is properly established with machinery, is the EFF. Let's collapse this thing. Let's collapse all of us into the EFF. Olomisa was in that meeting. That president of the PAC was there. I don't know if Carl Neos was there or what. They were all there. I still refuse. I said, I'm not going. I'm not part. I don't agree with that. And then, that's what they said. Zungula is the one who said, actually, the EFF is the way. Then Zuma responded and said, no. Can you imagine an old person voting for EFF? These old people will never agree to vote for the EFF. And he told them the footprint of how if we come together, we're going to get the votes from where and all of that. And then after the second meeting, we came back. Then they say, no, Zuma wants to see me. 4 eyes. I said, no problem, I'll go. Dali says he's going to come, but I already know what Dali is up to. So I bring Vuyani. I said, Vuyani, let's go together. Now, when we entered the meeting, President Zuma asked me to stay in the meeting with him. And then Dali and some other chubby guy, I can't remember what was his name, but he came from President Zuma's side, and Vuyani asked them to excuse us so that we can have a discussion. So I remained with President Zuma. He started making that presentation and all of that. But Floyd told me that in the first meeting, Zuma addressed them for 3 hours. In the second meeting, it was relatively better. He addressed them for 2 hours. So I said, how do you allow that? He said, hey, we're thinking maybe General will stop him or something. Hey, but we sit there and just listen. I said, no problem. So when they said he wants to see me, 10, 15 minutes into the discussion, I interjected him because at the back of my mind was like, you're not going to address me for 2 hours. It's not going to happen. Not 3 hours. I said, no, Baba, but I was thinking, you endorse the EFF. And then after endorsing the EFF, we'll have a proper discussion because we are now late, just on the eve of the elections. And then we can talk about what are the issues that you want us to take up in the immediate and all of that. And then he said, well, it's too late because I'm launching a party on the 16th of December. And I think we're like 2 weeks, 3 weeks before that. Hard luck. But let's take up this discussion after the elections. The meeting ended. If it took long, it's 20 minutes. We're done. And then we opened the door for those guys to come back. They were all like, so quick. I was like, no, we know what we want. Because it was not going to happen.
Let us stop it there for a second. You can have now an idea of what was this conversation which the president of the EFF, Julius Malema, had with Jacob Zuma back then. And you can see that Jacob Zuma actually, before he even get to announce this political party, Mkonto Wezuizwe, he had to go ahead and try to ambush the EFF by asking the EFF and some of the opposition political party to come and endorse him, even though it was not respecting the whole process. And when I'm talking about the whole process, there is example is that everywhere there will always be the firstborn and the lastborn. And just because of the age And because of their life experience, there are certain responsibility which can be given to someone according to their age and their experience about life. And when we have to put MK party and the EFF together, there is no doubt that the EFF is older than the MK party. And if you have to look through their experience, you will see that as a opposition political party, the EFF, they were the most political party which have a lot of experience. So if they have to endorse a political party or a leader or whoever it's supposed to be, that would be the EFF if we have to put in the case of this all opposition seated together. Because the other opposition political party, they can be older than the EFF, but the kind of impact or influence that they have among South Africans is not the same as the one that the EFF have. So you had Julius Malema even talking about some of the opposition leaders who have to come and remind Jacob Zuma on how these things are supposed to be done and not the way another way around. But going further, you had Julius Malema also saying that as he was invited by Jacob Zuma, of course, Jacob Zuma, I believe, he wanted to have this conversation directly with the president of the EFF, since things could not work according to his plan when he had this meeting with other South African opposition political party. So Julius Malema, knowing very well already what Jacob Zuma was up to, he had to interrupt him, because he believed that if you have let him to continue and finish until the end, it was not going to be good for him. And that is how he ended up stopping him. And the next things, Jacob Zuma was like, no, it's too late, because next week I'll be announcing my new political party, which of course it was already resisted by them. Now, from that moment, that's where everything, the whole conflict had started. Why? Because on the side of Jacob Zuma, him coming up with these ideas of trying to bring all the opposition together under his wings, and the opposition end up refusing. For him, it was either you are with me or you're not with me at all. And if you're not with me, just know that there is no way I'll treat you in a different ways compared to any other, the rest of my enemies. So from that moment, Jacob Zuma, he was not seeing Julius Malema or the EFF in the same way. Guys, follow me very well on what I'm about to tell you, because it is very important so that you can understand how the things or this conflict had escalated to this point, when we all know that things were just fine all this time. Now, Jacob Zuma, as he's coming out with this new political party, his main reasons that he showed to the eyes of South Africans, or in the eyes of the entire world, was to say that the ANC which he had fought for, he went in exile for, he went in jail for, it is no longer the same ANC. And he had to describe this ANC as the one of Cyril Ramaphosa. He does not believe in the leadership of Cyril Ramaphosa. Okay, that is actually his reasons, and we will have just to listen to that and observe. So, knowing very well that the EFF, they've been there for sometimes fighting the ANC, and as I always tell you at Cool Buzz TV, that each and every opposition political party, their job is to come and take over from the ruling part. So the EFF, whatsoever they've been doing, whether it is in the parliament, whether it is in whatever they do in this politics, it is for them to come and take over. That is how opposition's leaders or opposition political parties, they manage to survive in politics. No one should not come and lie you that no things are different. No, the purpose of being in opposition political party is to come and take power some days. So since the EFF, they were already in that process of fighting the ANC in order for them to take over the ANC. When they see one of the big men or big fish in the ANC coming forward and start denouncing the weakened part of the ANC. And they have to go to the point of opening up their own political party in order for them to fight the ANC. This was a good news for the EFF. This was another thing which motivated the EFF that if this continues this way, of course the ANC will be out of power. And we saw the willingness of EFF wanting to work together with the MK party, whether it is within the parliament or within the provinces. They were willing to do that. Proof to that, Floyd Shivambu, through his recent interview that he gave on SCBC, he said that they were given a task, and this task was for them to attack any kind of political parties such as the ANC, DA, so on and so on, PA, but they should not attack the MK party. Why? Because you could see that they do not want to make the MK party as their enemies. They actually want to join their power together in order for them to defeat the ruling party or to defeat their allies, which is the DA. So when it comes to that part, there is no doubt that the EFF, they have shown their willingness to work together with the MK party. Now, on the side of the individual Julius Malema, when Jacob Zuma was going through a lot within the ANC, him being taken to the court, him being abandoned the ANC, him being 1, 2, 3, mention it as you want. We saw Julius Malema was very supportive. Julius Malema, remember, through one of his interviews, he was asked a question concerning this matter of Jacob Zuma, and Julius Malema said that
if President Zuma comes and joins the EFF, he will be more than welcome. I think very soon I'll be going to see him. I must give him a form to join. The same way I'll give to President Mbeki, the same way I'll give to President Mutlanti. They are good citizens of our country, and I think President Zuma has paid his dues. I mean, I said yesterday, the highest form of punishment you can give to a sitting president is by making sure they don't end their term of office. Have you done that to Zuma? Yes. It's a permanent punishment. They will never finish talking about it. President Mbeki still speaks about it today. That's how painful that thing is. So having applied the highest form of punishment, do you still want to go and kick them even when they are down? That is not Africanism. That is not Ubuntu.
So now here, you see how Julius Malema had tried to welcome or invite the former President Jacob Zuma in the EFF. Not only him, he had invited a couple of people that the ANC was busy expelling or rejecting from their organizations. Julius Malema, he had called for Jacob Zuma to come and join the EFF. But this invitation, it was rejected. And through the interview of Julius Malema, you heard Julius Malema saying very well that Zuma had to say to people that there's no way an old man such as him can go and be led by a young man and no one else but the president of EFF, Julius Malema. So in other words, you could see the kind of arrogance which President Jacob Zuma had. You could not accept regardless of what. And I believe personally, I think it has also something to do with what used to happen in the parliament back then when President Zuma used to be the President of the Republic of South Africa.
Honorable Speaker, I don't know whether members want to play politics. Firstly, people every day say something about President Zuma in this country. Should I stand every day, take everybody to court? You say a lot of things about me. Should I do so? If I were
You
to
can
do
take
so,
me to
no,
court. You can,
Sakhuluma.
no, nami ngiyakhuluma.
He's answering
This is
you,
not your house.
Honorable
Ngathi ngiyakhuluma
Malema.
ngathi usendlini yakho. This is not your
Honorable
house.
Malema,
This is
it's not
parliament.
your
Wona
turn.
ngisakhuluma mo.
Honorable
Ngisakhuluma yini?
Malema.
Rakhuluma le
Point
rina
of
mo.
order.
Honorable
Everyone
Malema.
speaks here. This is
The
our house.
question.
No,
Yes, you
Honorable
can-
Malema, you
You
have
can
asked
take
your
action
question.
against me. You can take action against me.
I don't take actions against people like yourself, generally. I don't do it.
So his conflict with the EFF back then in the parliament, the things that the EFF used to say to him, I think the old men of Kandla never forgive them. He had that kind of revenge. And the only way he was going to be able to forgive them is by coming to dish up from the from the EFF, try to take the EFF and become their leader. But now that this plan did not work, obviously, he had to apply the plan B, which I said, it was either you are with him on his side or either you become one of his enemies. And that's what happened. So you hear Julius Malema had invited Jacob Zuma. That was even before the MK party come to it in existence. And these invitations, obviously, President Jacob Zuma did not take it, did not accept it. Obviously, for the reasons that I just explained here. And no one should not come and fool us that no, it was not this and that. Now, here comes now Jacob Zuma, who's coming today and recruiting different politicians, different former directors of public enterprises, this and that. He recruits almost everyone, which is a good thing. The reason being, well, they only have, or he only have this one slogan of saying that no, MK party, it is the last hope for South Africans, or the last strategy which can bring black South Africans together in order for them to fight and defeat their oppressors. That sounds very beautiful. But guys, in our recent video, I asked you this question. Before even this representative of the EFF at KwaZulu-Natal had spoken whatever he just said, I asked this question. I said, this so-called the unity of black South Africans, why it has only to be applied or to take place under one person, which is Jacob Zuma? Why it has to be only under Jacob Zuma? Why they could not do it with the EFF under Julius Malema? That was just questions which come in my mind because I want to understand that, guys. And if you are watching me, guys, feel free to express yourself. Give us also your opinion. Make us understand. Try to explain us what could be the motivations or good reasons that give Jacob Zuma that power to believe that is the only person who can unite black South Africans. Why it has to be when he was invited to join this other black South African political party, he could not consider that offer. Instead, he believed that it can be the only one who have to invite those people to come work with him, and that's the only way that things have to happen around. That is the question, and we're looking forward through the comment section so that we can see what are your opinions about this. But guys, this is what this EFF leader at KwaZulu-Natal have said. He tried to elaborate even more than what we have said to you before, because he went deeper by giving different examples, saying that this so-called unity of black South Africans, who's going to be the leader? No, it's someone who was there already, someone who have led this country, and he failed to do so. Is he right when he said that? Because according to him, he said that Jacob Zuma was the president of South Africa. He failed to unite black people. If this so-called unity of black South Africans was that important, I think, according to him, I'm just quoting his words. He said, he think Jacob Zuma should have grabbed up that opportunity and make the whole country be united. But he failed to do so. He went further by saying that how can you be united on someone who failed to get back our land, to give us the land which was stolen from our grandfathers by force, without having any kind of agreement. He even went far by giving an example of saying that back then the EFF, there were only 6% in the parliament, but one of their member in the parliament had gone and asked President Jacob Zuma and said that, Mr. President, here is the EFF. Regardless of how we don't get along with you, with your politics, but when it comes to these problems, when it comes to this issue of land without compensation, the EFF, they are willing to give you their 6% in order for us to vote as one black nation and reclaim back our lands. According to him, he said that President Jacob Zuma, he failed. And I remember back in days when this motion was raised in the parliament, when it was a very dramatic, we saw how the EFF, they were stopped, and there were some members who have to go and vote against them. And I remember back then, I even spoke about it. I said to you that this is a proof or a sign which shows that we are not free. We're still being controlled by a certain group of people out there who get to tell our leaders or our presidents on how things should supposed to be done around. And proof to that today, see what is happening when the EFF, the same EFF, going now ahead, trying to raise up emotions against President Ramaphosa concerning the matter of Palapala. You saw how the ANC allies, under the leadership of Ellen Zille, who are coming forward and saying that there's no way we'll abandon Ramaphosa. So you can tell that these people, they are just trying to protect one another. Because don't forget that it is with this same Ellen Zille and John Stenizen who were busy putting even more pressure in order for President Ramaphosa to come and answer to the parliament. But today, all of a sudden, just because they are under the government of national union, they are now protecting President Ramaphosa. So if this motion has to be raised today in the parliament, the DA, which is supposed to be voting against it, they will vote in other way around. That is how politics works, and it needs you and me to open our eyes in order for us to understand exactly how these things work and how the politicians like to play with your minds. So the EFF, they had asked the ANC to at least give the people of South Africa the land under the leadership of President Zuma. That did not happen. So now today, here comes the same man who's coming and telling you that no, black people, we need to be united. This idea is not even proposing it for him to be also united under someone's leadership. No, it's him proposing it so that it can happen, or this unity of black South Africa can take place under his leadership. So, come to think of it, whatsoever this EFF representative have said, it makes sense in one way or other, unless if you are being a profane of MK or maybe EFF, then you will see things differently. But if you choose to be neutral, if you choose to understand these things without wearing the political party color, I'm telling you, you will see all these things more clearly. You will understand that no, actually, this conflict, it hides indeed a very big secret. And the big secret is that the EFF, they have raised their concern, reminding now people today of what President Jacob Zuma had failed to do when he had that authority to do so. On the side of former President Jacob Zuma, is now having that anger toward the EFF because of what they have done to him in the past. Oh yes, guys, there is no doubt that the EFF, they have done this to Jacob Zuma in the parliament. I remember there's this one moment Jacob Zuma almost failed to give or to deliver the SONA, his address in the parliament. Why? Because that day, the EFF, they were so determined to put him uncomfortable. They were not willing to listen to him, or they were not even willing to let him address the nation.
So we'll see Zuma on the 12th of February, and that's why we're going to be asking for the payment of the money. We're not being disruptive. We're scared that if we don't hold Zuma accountable on the 12th of February, we're likely to see him again in 2016.
Honorable members, please allow the president
always
to finish.
determine who pays when to pay.
On a point
take
of
your
order,
seat.
I'm
Madam
asking
Speaker.
for to be recognized, Honorable
Madam
Speaker, on a
Sergeant
point of
at
order.
Arms, please assist me with relieving the members who are in this house who are not serious about this sitting
Who
to
are
take
serious,
their
Chair,
leave.
who are raising a point of order.
You're not
I
fair.
am not allowing
order.
I am not allowing
There's
you.
no member of parliament.
Honorable members,
We want the money
leave
from
the
God.
house.
All we are
Leave the house.
paying back the money. Why are we getting thrown out?
That money, Nkandla money must be paid. You can't hide behind presidency.
Honorable members, I'm calling the security. I'm suspending the house for a few minutes for these
On a
honorable
point of
members
order,
to
Chair.
leave.
1 hour money. We want
The
money.
house is
Pay
suspended
back
for
our
3
money.
minutes. Go.
1 hour money. 1 hour money.
Oh yes, they really give President Zuma hard time in the parliament. Even some of these ones who are now working with him today. As I always say, don't believe in politicians. They give him serious hard time. So in politics, I mean, you find enemy of yesterday, they become such very good friends. That is politics, and that is how this world functions. So they really did their part. But Julius Malema was also asked this question, whether he regrets doing so or not. And he was very clear in his answer.
I don't regret our position that which we took against President Zuma at the time. And this I asked Floyd if he thinks he has forgiven us for what we have done to him. I don't think he has forgiven us for that, and it doesn't matter. But we were not misled. We're not misled. Everything else we articulated, it was a correct position of the EFF, and it remains the correct position of the EFF. Having developed those positions around Zuma as the EFF, we now say this guy must now be our leader. We can't agree to that. We can't agree to that. So, and that's the thing I respect about Dali, because he has been open about it. He has been speaking about it, and one day, when I write a book, I will have a lot of stories to tell. Even on how Dali became Zuma's lawyer on some of these matters. So this morning, when I woke up to the news, I was like, it is what it is. Yeah. So he has sent me a message. First, he sent me a message about the birthday of his daughter turning 21st. So I didn't respond because I could see what Dali was doing. So I knew if he sends me invitation to a 21st birthday party, it means he has sent to everyone, which means we're all going to be united under Dali's leadership. And then he's going to project himself as this guy who brought all of them under one roof. So I said, no, I'm not responding because I'm not going there. And then he sent me now a text a few days after that he wants to see me urgently because he knows Parliament is in recess. He can come to the office, or I go to his house, or he comes to my house. I didn't respond. And because we are so used to this now, my wife says to me, he wants to say his goodbyes. No. I'm not good for. I'm not good for goodbyes. So I'm fine. I don't want. So let him do what he wants to do. So we respect his decision, and there's nothing we can do about it. He has been there. I know of the work they've been doing. I know of the work he has been doing and all of that. So this has never been a shock to me. It was just about when is it about to happen. It's going to happen anytime, but we just don't know when. So it eventually happened, and we're fine.
So, according to Julius Malema, for him, he thought his conflict or his fight against the old man, it was over. But looking at how things are sitting on the table right now, looking at the kind of shock or the kind of punch which Jacob Zuma had given to Julius Malema, guys, I can guarantee you for sure that this is not going to finish here. Yes, this is not going to finish here. Actually, this is another new round between President Jacob Zuma and the President of EFF, Julius Malema. So this is another round of fight that they are going through. Because what Jacob Zuma did to Julius Malema, it's what we call political punch. You can't imagine how many nightless that Julius Malema has been having so far. Seeing your right-hand man, the men that you trusted the most, they are leaving one by one for them to go and work with your yesterday enemy. That is not something that Julius Malema will also forgive anytime soon. Besides that, seeing the same person who's coming up with their own political party to remove you away from the post which you've been holding for about 2 to 3 elections. They remove you and they replace you with themselves. So these are the kind of things which are making now the EFF and Julius Malema to understand that actually our big enemy is not even the ANC, as they like to call it, the one of Cyril Ramaphosa, but our big enemy, it is actually the people who are sitting in the opposition bunch with. And since these people, they are here doing this to us, if we don't resist, if we don't try to stop them now, well, this political party, it will perish just like that. And already, as much as me, I believe all of you, you are aware that many people, they'll have to leave the EFF after this coming people choice assembly. So you will see that many people, especially those ones, if they are not happy about the result or the vote, there will be those ones who will have to leave. And all of them, they will be leaving it for one destination, which will be the MK party. Because I don't see anyone going to the ANC. So they'll be going to join the MK party. But again, me, I like to ask myself a couple of questions, especially when I come across these kind of things. I don't just accept for accepting or believe just because everyone are believing, but I like to raise up a couple of questions. And it is through these questions I usually seek some clarities in different matters. Because if you see everyone who are joining the MK party, we're not saying that joining an MK party is not a good idea. No, it's a good idea, but at the same time, we should think on how things will look tomorrow. Because everyone so far who seem to be joining MK party, especially those ones who are coming from the EFF, they are being proposed a post within the MK party. Like they're busy, like giving them some occupations for them to go ahead and be like, okay, be the councillor and there, do this and that. Okay, good. But this MK party, it also have people who've been there from day one when it was founded. So now when all these positions are being taken away from them and being given to some other people who are joining, and they're giving it to them, or just because maybe they used to hold this certain kind of positions in their former political party, but just because they want to make them happy, or just because they want to make them feel safe and welcome home, they have to give them a position. This obviously, sooner or later, all the positions which is in that political party, it will be occupied, it will finish. What will happen now to those who are still coming to join the MK party? What will happen to those who've been there? Like, don't you think they will be having another within conflict, whereby MK party's member, they'll start feeling like, okay, no, me, I've been here for 3 years, for 5 years, I never had this position. How come they're giving this position to this and so? Because we're talking about the same political party so far, which the owner of it refused to organize elections. Okay, for his reasons, and again, I don't want to comment much about it, but in the world of politics, things works like that. Yeah, so I think the man just want to maybe to settle up his leadership. He want to pass a message to everyone who are within the MK party or those who are outside of MK party, for them to be aware that I'm the one who's in charge here. Whether we organize the election or not, I'm the one who's in charge here. That's the simple message he's trying to pass regarding to that part. But as people keep on going, and they're going there to join the MK party, how will the future of the EFF look like? So far, I don't want to comment much about it. Why? Because I believe the true future of the EFF, it will be after December. Yes, after they went to their people convention or whatever they like to call it. I think it is from there we'll be able to tell that, okay, which members are loyal to the EFF and how many people they have lost on the ground. We'll see it from there. But at the same time, Julius Malema, is he being defeated by Jacob Zuma? When you look whatsoever have happened so far, do you think someone such as Julius Malema is being defeated already? The answer to that, I'll say no. Why? Because Julius Malema, he have done a couple of things, especially when it comes to deal with the man Jacob Zuma. You heard Julius Malema himself saying that
I can't be threatened by Zuma. No, I defeated Zuma. Zuma thought he buried me, expelled me from the ANC for comparing him with Thabo Mbeki, for saying there is a regime change which happened in Botswana now. I was guilty for that. I was expelled from the ANC by Zuma, and Ramaphosa was used as an instrument. So Zuma, my encounter with Zuma is not for the first time that it is the way it is now. He's inviting me back to fight with him, and I will do it, and I will do it with ease. I'm not scared of Zuma or all of his people who are working with him. There is no way anyone is going to threaten the existence of the EFF and that person becomes a friend. It will be a lie. We will be lying to ourselves. People keep on stepping you at the back, and then when they meet you in public, they want to be smiling and all of that. No. Keep your distance. Let's just know we are not together. Let's do our own separate things, and let's build our own organizations. We wish everyone well. Let them go and do whatever they want to do. Many of them are known for laziness anyway.
He once defeated Jacob Zuma before, and he strongly believes that he can still defeat him again. And for the fact that he's aware that actually the MK with the former President Jacob Zuma, they are there to finish him off. Well, I believe it's also kind of like taking some measurement in order for him to defend himself. But here comes another question that comes in my mind. When all these things is happening, when all this conflict is taking place between the two political parties, between the two leaders, what about the ANC? Who's benefiting from all this? Because this so-called the unity of black people, black South Africans, it seems like it's coming in three different ways, whereby you are having ANC who believe that no, they are the only true black political party, liberators of black South Africans. You are having the MK who also believe that no, us we are the last options. We are having the EFF, which even went far by even including the entire Africa as a black people who are supposed to be free and liberate themselves from their former colonials. Now, when we go divided, when we are leaving these things the way it is, who's benefiting from all this? If you ask yourself this question, because according to me, I will tell you that the man or the political party which is benefiting from all this is the same political party which the EFF they've been fighting with, the MK Mkontowezu is a political party they've been fighting with, the ANC that they've been fighting with, and I'm referring to the DA, because I can guarantee you today that while these people are busy fighting, insulting each other through social media, calling each other names, saying things against each other, the DA, they are actually busy planning something on how they can come and take over the power. Remember, we are talking about a political party which has been there since 1994. They resisted. They've been there in the same position. Number one. They never, number two. They never been number three. And we all know, in order for you to be number one, you need to beat number two. Okay? So they've been there, they've been resisting there. And the ANC managed to survive against them all this time because they will always be number one. But now that the ANC is being pulled down, that's where they are benefiting. Because to show you how smart these people they are, John Steenhuisen have come out and called the ANC to not work with the EFF of Julius Malema or work with the MK of Jacob Zuma. Why? Because according to him, he think that working with these people is like destroying the South Africa because it would be a disaster. Why did he say those words? Because he knows very well that it's better to deal with the devil we know very well, which is the ANC, than this other MK or EFF. Because these people, we should leave them, they should go on their side, because as they go on their side, they'll end up fighting. Once they fight, and us on the other side, we are having the ANC, which we have crapped them on their balls, and we're busy monitoring them on things, will be able to come out as the winner. That is the simple mathematics, and it needs for you to think or ask questions in order for you to understand this. So, guys, don't be surprised if it happened that one of this morning we wake up to see or find out that no, the DA, they are in control of South Africa government, whether it's through municipality, whether it is through in the union building. Don't be surprised, because we are divided. We are not united. We are busy quarreling against each other. In the meantime, they are busy organizing themselves. They are busy seeing on how they can come and take, because the separation, the division of black Africans is what drives these people.
The division of Africa is what makes them thrive. They thrive on the division of the African continent.
And I believe Julius Malema, he was right when he said these words, because we can't be expecting to win when we are being divided. It is only when we are united, that's when we can be able to do something. If these people have come in Africa to colonize Africa and do all those kind of nonsense things that they have done, it's because we're divided. The day will be united, the day will do things differently. You'll see that will be respected, will be treated in different ways, and will be able to start developing the country or Africa continent. Guys, now I believe you have an idea of how these conflicts between the MK party and the EFF have reached to this point. There's some pending business of some matters which took place that was not well resolved. And now that they want to position themselves with their political party, of course, they have to look around each other and see on how they can be able to destroy one another. So far for me, with my opinions, I don't think the so-called unity of black Africans or South Africans, it has started taking place in the right now. No, because those who are joining MK, they are doing it out of the jealousy of post. Maybe they want to be ministers, maybe they want to be this, or maybe they had retired or rejected through their political party or their office, and now they want to position themselves. Okay? And there's a lot which is happening over there. We all know about it. So it's only the future will tell. If it's the true unit of black Africans or South Africans, well, we shall see as time goes, and they can only prove us this, whether it is them or the EFF, by first stopping attacking one another and coming up together and put their power together in order for them to defeat the oppressors of South Africa. I think once that happens, we'll come back again here and then we'll show you on how we see things around. So thank you so much for taking your time to watch this video. We really do appreciate your time, guys. It was very important that we have this conversation with you. But do us a favor before you leave, make sure that you like this video in your number. You see that thumbs, just keep it up like this. We really do appreciate. And we encourage you to subscribe to this channel, because we are here every day live talking about matters that are surrounding the country and the entire Africa and the diaspora, because this is a Pan-African platforms which we have created so that we can be having this kind of conversation time to time. So feel free to subscribe to the channel so that whenever we're here, you can be able to catch up with us as we will be having this kind of different conversations with you guys. So I believe that will be all for now. Be good, be kind, respect yourself in order for you to be respected. Stay out of trouble. May God bless you all. Also, I can very soon in our next video. Ciao, ciao.